The Chicago Bears sit in an interesting place only 3 weeks into the season, heading into week 4, where there's still so much season left ahead of the Chicago Bears, but still so much doubt in certain areas of the team. But I'm going to talk about why one of the areas that we have doubts in, which is the coaching staff, is one of the most concerning because I feel like a lot of the talent is there. We're going to talk about all that, plus the mailbag, right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Terry Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content, man. And I want to start off with this, right? Before we get into the mailbag, is that the Bears sit in a place right now where a lot of the doubt, not completely, right? We still got doubt on the offensive line. We got doubt with certain, positions, more so on the offensive side of the ball. But a big part of the doubt is, especially when you're looking at the offense, is how we're using players, right? And coaching. And that is one of the worst places that I feel like you can be at in a franchise is when you don't have trust with your coaching staff, especially for a young team. Like, we've heard how Mercedes Lewis has stepped up and talked to coaching in the leadership meeting, and that's a great thing, right? And you need more players like that are going to speak out and be very vocal in what they feel is what they see is going on with even your coaching staff and everything like that. You need that, right? That's the point of having captains. That's the point of having leaders there. But when you don't have faith in your coaching staff overall, that's where talent can be missed. That's where evaluation of future talent can come in. And overall, with that type of thing, that's where you have some problems at. And here's the thing. In no way am I saying that Matt Eberflus is an overall horrible coach. I think when the way he's turned around the defense, he's gotten a lot of praise for that. But like I said, and I said this last year, and I allow myself to get caught up in the momentum and the excitement and the talent that we had here with this team, and I can admit that to myself. And Matt Eberflus still has time to turn it around. Everything that I say here, I want to make sure the caveat is understood first, that this Bears is so much season left for this team that a lot of these things can turn around. But where we sit right now, the coaching staff is what I have the least amount of faith in right now, especially on that offensive side and then on that offensive line. Now, the offensive line you can get to, right? We can address that. That could take some time. Like I've said to you guys before, don't expect a whole lot of change to happen on that offensive line within this season because it takes a lot of assets to get some veteran offensive linemen in here. So we could be in a situation where we're waiting on Ryan Bates to come back. We're hoping that Matt Pryor having, coming in there as a starter really helps a lot of things, which he's already helped on the stunts and things like that. Karen Amagaje, maybe the Bears uncover something with him. Darnell Wright, Tevin Jenkins, these guys start getting back to seeing what we've seen in them before, and hopefully that happens, right? So I want to be clear there. The most change is going to happen in the offseason with that offensive line. But then you got to get to Ryan Poles' evaluation of offensive linemen. He has left a lot to be desired so far. We'll see how that grows and develops. But then the faith in the coaching staff right now. Shane Waldron has been so bad as a play caller. And while there were Seahawks fans that when he left there were celebrating, I was like, well, look at your guys' offense. He did a pretty damn good job. You're now starting to see some of those issues, right? The not understanding how to use talent. The fact that it took us 3 weeks to start using Cole Kmet properly. Rome Odunze getting along as a rookie. I'm not going to take that. The 52 pass calls, those type of things, like that faith is starting to wane. And Matt Eberflus as a head coach as well. And, that's the point that I was making at before I got kind of off that point is that, now some of the things that we saw last season with him are starting to come to the forefront again. And, maybe that's on us, right? As Bears fans to expect somebody to change from 1 year from the ending of 1 year to the beginning of another year that much, even though Matt Eberflus seemed to gain a new level of confidence. And, at the time I thought it was because of the talent that we have on the roster. But when it comes down to it as well, like, listen, people blaming right now Matt Eberflus, that's what comes with being the head coach of an NFL team, right? And that's something that's going to be there. You're going to get your fair share of the blame. But when you look at it, right, Matt Eberflus, the challenge play calls that he's missed, the mismanagements of timeout that have been there. You look at Shane Waldron and his play calling, some of those play calls being absolutely baffling at times, not being able to ride a hot hand to save your life. And you saw some things that were going with that running game, but then you're sticking with Gerald Everett, right? And then not using Cole Kmet consistently. those two guys who should be pillars of the turnaround with this team, Shane Waldron with the offense, Matt Eberflus overall as a head coach, and definitely as a defensive play caller, which there's no problems there. As a defensive play caller, I got to give Matt Eberflus his credit. I don't have a single issue typically with his defensive play calls. I'm not mad at that. But when you're looking at how things are being mismanaged by this coaching staff, unfortunately, even Shane Waldron's mishandling of certain things, it comes back again to Matt Eberflus as your head coach. That's what being a head coach is about. And we talked about on yesterday's episode how, Brad Biggs had reported that, Shane Waldron's job and coaching seat could become hot before Matt Eberflus does. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, right? Like, Matt Eberflus is a good guy. I want to be clear in that. He's a good guy. But being a good guy does not make for a good head coach. And that's something that we have to see and watch how that's going to develop as well for this team. Because listen, Matt Eberflus, the players like him. Hell, I'm not going to lie. When Matt Eberflus just talks life, and even sometimes when he talks, I like Matt Eberflus as a guy. But the fact of the matter is that as you're forging, and I've said it before, back when I was more so on the move off of Matt Eberflus bandwagon, it was because of this. Like, not every good guy is going to be a great head coach, right? And you need somebody. As you've moved from the just rebuilding phase to now you're at a point where you have talent and you're trying to compete, that same guy who was there in a solid pickup for your rebuild, right? Being in the rebuilding phase, the evaluation phase of getting talent here may not be the same guy that can see that talent through to the next phase of your team. And that's the question that throughout the rest of the season is going to have to be answered by what Matt Eberflus does. And like I said, throw it out again, there is more than enough time for Matt Eberflus to start answering those questions positively. But you got to dig in and figure the hell out. We've seen coaches go through some adversity at the beginning of the season, and then that tells the test of how that coach is going to be to see how do you come out of the other side of that adversity. What do you learn and grow from and grow through to get you to a place of being better? That's something that we have to watch and see that's going to happen with Matt Eberflus and this coaching staff. But I tell you what, my faith, when it weans in your coaches, that's a very difficult place to be in. And this isn't, like I said, this isn't a break glass in case of emergency. This isn't to say people need to be fired and heads need to roll now. It's just saying that where we stand right now as a team, I'm concerned. And I want to see what Matt Eberflus, I want to see what Shane Waldron have time to do with the remaining of the season to start eliminating some of those concerns. But the concerns are there. They're evident. They're loud. They're visible. You can't ignore them. When we came after the first game and said the play calling was questionable, and a lot of Bears fans said, we don't understand what you're saying about the offensive play calling. It's the offensive line. It's just the line. Now you're starting to see what that play calling is. And like I've said many times before, and this isn't a shot at anybody. This isn't a negative. I understand. We're here. We're fans just like you are. We're talking about our favorite teams. But I think like the work that C-Dub puts in live calling games, the work that Bobby puts in research and knowing football at the level that he does, the research that Steve-O does and the amount of tape that Steve-O watches, I just hope at some point that you guys learn to trust us a little bit more because we told you a lot of the things. Now, we're not always right. And that's something that you guys also, as people who support this channel, hold us the fuck accountable. When we're not right, we ain't right. That just is what it is, right? And nobody's going to always be right in these situations and scenarios. But listen, we saw some things, and those things are becoming more and more evident as the season goes on, right? When I was at the beginning before the season started and saying the biggest concern that I have is the O-line, and some people were saying, what, Hayes, the O-line performed pretty, like, why are we worried about the O-line? Don't you think it's too early? Now look at it, right? Now, I've been wrong on some things as well. Like, my evaluation of people hasn't always been the best. Like, I was somebody who thought, hey, Chase Claypool could actually maybe work on this team. So, like I said, never here to say or act like we're know-it-all, because we're not. And we're watching and understanding and taking in the game just like everyone else. We just do it kind of more often. We do this for a living in a degree. But to bring that all back in, there's concerns. And the concerns with this team are becoming louder and louder. And like I said, when you look at the talent on this roster and you say we got some real talent and the coaching staff isn't utilizing them right, or you got an offensive line holding it back, that is one of the worst positions to be in as a sports fan when you're worried about your coaching staff being what could be holding your team back. And let's see, but listen, I've said it before. This is a game against the Los Angeles Rams where the offense can start getting going both on the ground and in the air, and hopefully the Bears start doing that, right? And this is also the Rams offense. I see our defense being able to take care of the Rams offense. I'm not saying it's going to be a cakewalk. It's difficult, right? When we gotta dig it and focus to get it done. But this could be a game where maybe some things start looking better overall for this team, and we'll see what happens. But all right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. It's Friday. That means it's Mailbag Day here at Chicago Bears Central. We got 6 voicemails to get into. This one is from Coach C.
What's up, fellas? What up, Cognac boys, man? It's Coach C calling. Hey, I had to get through the game, rewatch it, and then go through the tape again, man. Just talk about the game, man. The Bears are extremely disappointing, man. But one thing for sure that has to change, that number 65 can no longer be on the football field, man. I've watched him in 3 straight weeks get put on his ass by linebackers. 225 to 235-pound linebackers are putting your center in a fetal position on the ground, man. He on his back with his legs up in the air like some type of whore, man. He can't play football for the Chicago Bears, period. 65 can't go on the field no more, man. Put a different guy at center. I don't care who it is. It can't be him. It can't. Everybody sees the same things, man. The Bears are an insult to my football intelligence. Kevin Jenkins should be your right guard. You put him at right guard next to right, and then you got at least one strong side of the offensive line. Run behind that. Start with that and replace the center. And then see what you got. Swift, I can't do nothing with him. Swift is not a guy that you can run between the tackles, which means he cannot play Bear football. You got to get him the ball in space. Screen passes. Run off the wide receivers and dump it to the running back in the flat. That's what he's good at. Don't try to make him a running back. Don't nobody want to see him run the ball. Definitely not between the tackles. And you can't keep running wide. He runs 15 yards wide just to gain 2 yards positive. This shit is insane, man. It's an insult to my football IQ. And now it's to the point where people are now throwing shade on Ryan Poles. And I refuse to do that because I love the job that he's doing with the Bears. But the product on the field is making people take a double look at what it is that he did. You got Belichick chiming in on it. You got national media chiming in on it. If that happens, the first thing that's going to roll, because shit rolls downhill, he's going to get them coaches up out of here. And I called in and said this shit months ago. I was never a fan of Eberflus. He is not a guy that you lift a trophy with. He could be a decent coordinator. He is not the guy that's going to take you over the top, man. I don't know what's going on. This Shane Waldron hiring is turning into a disaster, but I still support Ryan Poles. I promise you, I feel as though that he put Eberflus replacement on staff. Because if he got to launch Eberflus, you're going to see that D coordinator that came from the Bills or Thomas Brown that came from the Panthers as the interim coach, and he's going to give one of them brothers a chance to see if they can turn this around. Bears got way too much talent to be balling around like this. Bears fans wanted 300-yard pass, so guess what? You got them. And now you can't run them.
First of all, Coach C, calm down, my boy. They got my boy hot. First of all, Coach C is usually pretty damn calm. The fact that Coach C had his voice raised throughout all of that, and you very much so heard the frustration in him, they got my boy upset, man. Now, I get what you're saying as far as Coleman Shelton. But unfortunately, until Ryan Bates is healthy, he's the best option that we have there. That's why the Bears haven't even talked about starting somebody else at center. Unfortunately, that's the way that this team was constructed. I'm not saying that it's right, but that's the way that this team was constructed. So Coleman Shelton's going to be out there. It just is what it is for right now. Hopefully Matt Pryor as the starting guard shows enough to where when Ryan Bates does come back, he maybe can go into that center position and maybe we can get some improvement there. As far as the shade to Ryan Poles, here's what I'll say: the shade to Ryan Poles is warranted because listen, that now you don't take away and forget everything that he's done because of some shortcomings. The offensive line evaluation is a shortcoming, and when the product on the field isn't good, you got to look at the guy who put out the players and built that product. Both in the coach, he picked the coaches, he picked the players. So you got to look at it that way. So I get what you're saying. I don't want to forget, and I'm never going to knock and act like everything Ryan Poles has done has been bad, and I've seen some people act like that. It's not. Now, he has fallen short. He has made some bad decisions, and like I've said many times over this last week, I'm excited to see now with him being able to have a focus on I need to improve the offensive line between now and the next offseason. I'm excited to see what he does with that. But no, some of the shade towards Ryan Poles is warranted because, yeah, he's fallen short in some areas. But as a GM, he's going to get an opportunity to turn that around, and we'll see. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one is from Darius.
What's going on, guys? Darius from Dallas here. I just want to chime in real quick with that the recent news we got about Darnell Wright. I just want to point out the silver lining in all this, and I think I might have a solution for this offensive line. Y'all let me know what you think. But it's all going to be predicated on if Karen Amagaje has success over there at right tackle. Okay? If he does. He doesn't have to do it as good as Darnell Wright does, but if he gives us some solid production over at that right tackle, then maybe he can develop into an elite guy. But for starters, if he can just give us some solid production over there, then what we could do is we could take Darnell Wright, let him, in practice start taking a couple reps at left tackle. Okay? Now, I know he's never played it before, or maybe he did at Tennessee, I'm not sure. But I think he's got enough talent in him, pure talent in him, to where when he understands how to play that left tackle position, I think he's got enough potential in him to be an elite guy, and he ain't going to give us worse production than Braxton Jones has at that left tackle spot. Let's just be real. We can put him over there now, and he will probably do just as good, if not better, than Braxton Jones, okay? Move Braxton on the inside to left guard. All right. I think Braxton is going to be a little bit better at covering some of the inside guys and not having to cover as much space, not have to do as much thinking. I think as long as he has a good communicator in there at center, Braxton Jones might be able to give you some even better production at left guard. And if he doesn't, no big deal. Next year, we can find a starting left guard in the 4th round. No big deal. For center, we're going to have to stick with Coleman Shelton, unfortunately, until we get Ryan Bates back. But once we get Ryan Bates back, I think that's going to help out our offensive line a ton because he's going to be a better communicator. All right. And I think that's what's happening with us not picking up some of these stunts. Then just the communication. Some of these guys seem lost. And I think Ryan Bates can be the glue that can do those pre-snap checks to get everybody on the same page with the offensive line. All right. Now, right guard, let's move Tevin back over there. We already saw that he has had some solid production. I believe he even made a Pro Bowl at right guard. So it won't be too much of a transition for him. He should be able to do that next week with no problem. Right guard, right tackle, like I said again, Karen Amagaje, let's just hope this whole plan is predicated on if he's going to give us some solid production, but I guess we'll see that Sunday. But y'all let me know what y'all think about that, man. Just a little brainstorming here that I'm thinking. But y'all let me know what you think. Check this out there now.
All right, listen, I hope that Karen Amagaje can give the Bears some good production because if he can start turning into a rotational piece over the course of the season, because I do think he still has starting level upside, if he can start getting those rotational snaps and start putting up some good production for the Bears, then, of course, you build off of that in the offseason. And then maybe you're looking at him being one of your starters and jettisoning someone off. Now, here's what I'll say. And you, in your thought process, and you don't want to play musical chairs with your offensive linemen. I get in what you're saying and moving some of those guys, but the last thing that you want to do, in my opinion, is start playing musical chairs. Not once the season starts. The time for you to experiment at what positions, different sides of the ball was in the offseason and in training camp. You don't really want to do that. I can't think of a time that's ever worked out for a team to start moving guys around that much in the O-line. And like I said, I think playing that musical chairs is too much. Now, with Ryan Bates coming back eventually, that is going to bring some more help. Hopefully at that center position, especially if Matt Pryor is looking good at right guard. I think if you get Ryan Bates coming back, if he can be better than Coleman Shelton, you get Matt Pryor starting at right guard. If Tevin and Darnell Wright can start getting back on the right path and how they've looked before, I think you have something there. But moving Braxton to guard and all that, that's not really something that you want to do during the season. I like I said, I can't think of a single time that's ever been successful in doing that, and that does scream of desperation. Now, we're probably in a desperate place, so I understand. Like I said, I'm not knocking you for the thought process and trying to come up with something creative to get this offensive line out of this rut. I just don't think that's kind of what you want to do and where you want to be at in week 4 and this point going into the season. Now, health injuries that may force some things, right? Health and injuries that may force you to change some things, but I just don't think you want to get into moving that much around at this point in the time. I could be wrong in that. You guys can let me know how you guys feel on that down below. But all right, let's get into the next voicemail. This one is from Ja.
CBC. And what that shit do is Ja from Arizona again tapping in with the fellas. Keep doing what y'all doing. We definitely appreciate y'all here this way. Let me start with the game, brother. Bruh, I can't go to the bar no more because I'm over here talking all this shit in the offseason about my team. Caleb this, Caleb that. And Caleb looked good. Caleb looked good for me. And I can't ever forgive myself for saying, oh, no, we should sign Shane Waldron. He know what the fuck. He don't know what the fuck he doing. He don't. First off, let's start there, like FYBJ man say. Let's start, bro. 4th and 1, 4th and inches, 4th and 3. You run the ball. Why wouldn't you run it on 4th and inches on the goal line? A pitch option? The fuck, bro? We gotta get it together. We don't even gotta get. We gotta get it together. But we need to start. When I say we, I'm talking about everybody besides Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus too. We need to go ahead and get rid of him. Go ahead and cut the line. Go ahead and throw the fish back. Throw it back in the canal or whatever however you want to say. We need to just let him go because it's not working. I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do, but we need to do whatever it is real soon because if Caleb has to throw the ball 52 times again, 52, enough for 2 games by the way, it's crazy. I don't know what else. There's literally nothing I can say. Chicago up, bear down maybe. I don't know if we're gonna be able to say that much for 2 months long because of these motherfuckers. But anyway, so y'all do y'all thing. Chicago up, bear down.
Yeah, Shane Waldron has looked in over his head, and it's unfortunate, right? And I think that Shane Waldron, like we're hearing Brad Biggs say that Shane Waldron could end up on the hot seat if this continues for the most part this season. That'd be crazy, but it wouldn't be something that we haven't seen other teams do. Like at the end of the day, when you have this much talent on the offense and your offensive coordinator can't use it, can't find a way to bring it consistently and has terrible play calls, listen, you never know what that could end up being. But Shane Waldron does look lost out there so far. But like I said, heading into week 4, there's still a lot of football left to be played, a lot of time for things to start turning around. Let's hope that they can. Now, as far as getting rid of Matt Eberflus, now, I mean, what 1 year left on his deal, like I said in previous episodes, I think that it comes down to how much Ryan Poles holds himself accountable for the state of the offensive line. If he holds himself and says, listen, I gave you a lot of weapons. I didn't give the protection or the offensive line to use those weapons. Rather than go out and find a new head coach, let's see Matt Eberflus through one last year. I'm going to fix this one last position group, and then we can have the full evaluation. There could be a chance of that. But as I've said many times before as well, is that when it takes your front office 3 days of deliberation in a room to decide if they're going to keep you, that to me shows that you are probably on a short lease. So we'll see how that plays off for the future of Matt Eberflus for sure. Great voicemail there, Ja. Thank you for leaving that. All right, let's get into this next one. This one is from Xavier.
What's going on, guys? This is Xavier calling in. I just got a little quick reply to the game. Man, I don't know what's going on, bro. It's like, we paid DeAndre Swift, and he's looking like complete trash for us. Now, I don't think his struggles are based on offensive line. I just think it's based on him looking like he's not running hard, bro. Like, I've seen Khalil Herbert in there, Rojo in there, and they look like they running way harder than Swift. So, I feel like, bro, if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, bro, we gotta bench him. We gotta bench him, start Herbert, bro, and mix in Rojo and use Swift on third downs, because that's what they were doing in Detroit, like his first, year, I want to say year or two. He was really good on third downs, but, like, man, I'm looking at it like, bro, like, if you ain't gonna get up in there and run hard, bro, we not just about to keep giving you all these snaps, bro, because, like, you're doing nothing with it. So that's one. Two, the offensive line. Now, everybody's, we all know, is beating the dead horse. The offensive line is bad. But we got Ryan Bates on IR. Hopefully he comes back as soon as possible. I think he should be back by like week 5 or 6. And I'm not saying he's the best offensive lineman in the world. No, I'm not saying he's a savior for the offensive line. But I feel like with him and Pryor in the lineup and just getting Nate Davis out of there, bro. Like Nate Davis, bro, he can ride the bench. Hopefully we won't have any injuries, so we won't need him to play. But we just got to bite that bullet, bro, and keep him on the bench because, like, his lack of effort is just it can't be a lack of effort when we're talking about O-linemen. Like, my thing is, even if they're not the best, physically or like just sound skill wise as a blocker, the effort matters, bro. Nate Davis does not show any effort, bro. He shows no heart out there. So one thing I can say with Pryor, he might not be the best, but he gives effort, bro. He's getting out there and he's trying. Ryan Bates, when he gets back, even when I saw him preseason, he was pretty solid. But my thing is like, bro, the effort is just all that matters, bro. And I feel like if we can get a line with just guys who are giving that effort full out, 24/7, bro, Caleb will be fine. But like, that's just my take on it, bro. I feel like we just need the guys in there that's gonna give the maximum effort because we've seen like horrible.
Yeah, Darnell Swift has not been good yet, right? And like I said, I went over the metrics a couple of episodes ago. He's been one of the worst starting running. No, he's not one of. He's been the worst starting running back in the game of football so far, and even worse than some backup running backs. He's just been bad. Now, the offensive line could be a big part of that. And he is more of a finesse back. That's why I think you want to go to your back that was able to be productive with this offensive line in Roschon, and you're going to start seeing potentially DeAndre Swift lose more and more snaps as long as he's playing that bad. And getting the run game going is a huge, important part of getting this offense going. So I think that's going to be. The O-line has been bad. It's been terrible. But hopefully with health and bringing in some other players, moving on from Nate Davis, we start seeing some things start benefiting and going in the right direction for this team. And let's hope so. But Swift has not been good. He just has not been good yet. And I know that triggers some people when I say that. Like, people look at Swift like, oh, Swift can absolutely be a feature back. But not just because you can be a feature back on some teams doesn't mean that this team is the right environment for you. We may not have the right environment for Swift. And if that's the case, that's not all on him, right? If we don't have the offensive line that he needs to be productive, when you sign players, it's your job as a franchise to make sure you have what that player is going to need to be successful. And if Swift is the type of running back that needs a really good offensive line to be successful, that's not on him. He didn't build the rest of this team. He just signed the deal that was offered to him. So he gets there's a little bit of that in there as well. Me trying to be fair and look at things from all sides. All right, let's get into the next voicemail. This one's from Donovan.
What's going on, Hayes? What's going on, team? It's your boy Donovan, man. Look, let me get straight to the motherfucking point. Ryan Poles, he only had one chance. Pretty much like every quarterback, head coach, and GM has in these leagues. The owners, they got multiple chances because they own the damn team. But as far as the mother motherfuckers, you looking stupid in the first 2-3 years, you gone. I don't got no trust in you, or whatever the case may be, or they let the media influence them. He only had one chance. And you can say he had like 1.5, 2 chances based on last year, but I don't think they was going to fire him last year, especially what he's done so far, especially with that Carolina pick. Everybody's griping on his flaws, but that Carolina pick is like what made him like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's kind of giving him the flexibility of, and the freedom, so to speak. So with all that being said, with his win chance, I believe he's done good. Yes, he's made mistakes. I'm not going to address them. You already did on the episode. But on the last episode, talking about the recap of the game with the mailbag and stuff. But when you look at what he did, he passed on this haul when he got the quarterback and the wide receiver one and addressed a little bit of everything else. I think next year is when everything else comes into play. Because everybody's like, oh, we could have got the haul. We still kind of got one next year. We got our first, second, and third. We got Carolina second. And if Ian Cunningham goes and becomes a GM, which I believe he will, we'll have a third. And everybody's crying about, oh, Justin Fields is doing so good. Well, let's hope he keeps doing good. Plays 9 games, over 51% of their snaps. That'll be another fourth for us. I don't know about y'all, but to me that sounds like we can address our O-linemen, because there's a lot of good linemen in there. We can address our D-linemen, and we can address the safety spot. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just pity-pat picks. We got premium picks, multiple second rounds, potentially multiple thirds, shit like that. And if we make a couple trades, we get some more. So I'm like, if he comes out of this not only passing on the first crazy haul, but also capitalizing on another one, along with getting Caleb Rome and a bunch of the quality pieces, you can't say shit about him. And I believe we can. I hope he doesn't trade that shit. Chicago up, bear down.
Listen, Ryan Poles has had more than one chance, and he's not going anywhere. I just want to be clear here. Ryan Poles' job is nowhere close to being in jeopardy. I know as Bears fans and as being emotional and being, locked in with this team, seeing the offense have this type of struggle sucks, right? It sucks. But Ryan Poles has done so much to turn this team around. His job is not even close to being in jeopardy anytime soon, and he's going to get more time to right the ship. Ryan Poles' job is not in jeopardy. I'm sorry, like if people are hoping or wanting it to be, I'm sorry to bust your bubble there. Ryan Poles' job is not in jeopardy. He's not going to be in jeopardy for the foreseeable future. But that does not mean that he can't take that and take his foot off the gas. We got to keep driving towards that goal of getting closer and closer to being a playoff and then a Super Bowl team. So Ryan Poles has to, listen, every GM has a series of bad decisions over the course of their career. Ryan Poles has had it. Now, see how many of those he can eliminate from season to season. That's what the job is about. And we'll see where Ryan Poles can get this team at. All right, let's get into the last voicemail for today. This one is from Tyrese.
What up, fam? This is your boy Tyrese, man. I want y'all to know real quick. I drive trucks for a living. And the reason why I say that is because this Sunday, I wasn't nowhere around to be able to watch the game, but listen to you guys call the game live. It was the way that I was getting my little, score updates and everything, through you guys. So I just want y'all to know, man, y'all very appreciative of that type of stuff, man, for real, for real. I got a chance to look at the All-22 after the game was over and everything, and I'm an optimistic Bear fan. Win or lose, I bleed orange and blue, and I personally believe, that we do have something special in Caleb Williams, and it's a heartbreaking loss. Of course, we all know that, but I really wish everybody would be a little bit more patient because I can see it. I swear to God, I can see it. We got something brewing, man. Now, if we want to call for some heads, bro, our offensive line, well, I ain't going to keep on beating a dead horse, but if we're going to call for anybody head, it need to be Seymour. Real spill, man. But anyway, I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys, and next week when I hop on, I'll be sure to throw the nice little super chat in, just to show my appreciation because y'all was able to give me live updates with the game, man. I just want to give back my appreciation. Anyway, Chicago up that.
You see something special in Caleb Williams? Listen, it's there. We just got to keep developing it. We got to keep putting him in a situation to be productive as a player. And we got things that we need to do. And yes, Bears fans need to be more patient. Yes, we were all excited about the potential of what the season was going to look like. And yes, that has come crashing down to reality based off where we were. But like I've told you guys many times, Caleb Williams is a rookie. He's going to have a rookie quarterback season. This is what it is. If you were expecting, not you, if anybody was expecting Caleb Williams to come in and look generational from day one, you worked yourself up until it worked. It was never going to happen. The O-line has to improve. Bears fans got to be patient. It's a process to get it done, and we're going through that process. And how we learn and grow through this process is hugely important as well. So let's see what we can do, guys. That's my time for today. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.